Hello, this is Wmpyr here to talk about knife boxing once again. So we're talking about knife boxing for self-defense, right? Using it in the street. Number one, always, you got to run if you can run. At any given moment, if you can run, you should run to run away. There's obviously the right time to run, and there's a bad time to run. A bad time is, you're running, you turn your back on them, and they take you down, and now they're on top of you and they got your back. That you just made it really bad for yourself. So of course there are things like that of course that can happen. So running, you have to find the right time to do it. The bad guy, if they sense you're going to run, they're going to try to cut that off. So running, as much as we want it and as much as that should be priority, it's not so easy. So that's just something I want to make sure I get that out there. The next thing is we got to defend, because if you don't defend, boom, they could knock you out with one hit. This is not sport, this is the street, meaning there's no weight class. So the person that decided to become predator and make me the prey that day, they probably outweigh me. That means they have a much better chance of knocking me out. So I need to defend that. If I don't, and I'm knocked out, that's pretty much the same as death. If they want to kill me, then they can. So I cannot allow that to happen. I have to protect myself. Now, I know in today's self-defense culture, they say attack them before they attack you. That is very difficult. Think about it, okay? The other person they're making all these advantages so that they can attack you. Whether they're talking to you, distracting you, where they positioned themselves, how they approached you, all of that matters. That place that they chose, they're picking all of those things. They're picking the time and place and everything else so that they get the advantage. You have none of that, and somehow you're going to attack them. That sounds very difficult and unlikely. And let's say you were able to attack them without having any of those advantages. Is it going to be enough? And once again, this dude's probably bigger, stronger, and meaner than you. So it just seems like a really bad idea to be attacking the person first. It takes a lot of balls to do that too, because you are going on pure guesstimation, right? You're going, this person is a bad guy. I believe they're going to attack me first. You don't have proof of any of those things, but just based on that, you're going to attack them first. That's very ballsy. If you're wrong, you just gave them a reason to attack you. You just screwed yourself for court. You're guesstimating. You have no evidence to support your claims. So, you just go, well, I had this hunch feeling. They had nasty in their eyes, and I thought they were going to attack first. So anyway, I'm just saying it's very difficult to do. And the reasoning that I hear people say is that because they don't expect you to attack them, you're attacking them first is a surprise attack. And because they didn't expect that from you, that's why it's going to work. And my question to that is that enough? Is that really enough? And is that even true? Are they not expecting an attack from me? If I was going to corner somebody and set them up, I would expect them to fight back. Only an incompetent idiot, I think, would not expect the prey to fight back. Okay? They're expecting the prey to fight back. That's why they're setting them up. That's why they're having all these advantages. So it's a weak argument for me. So that's why you gotta defend, because they have all the advantages. They're gonna attack first. I gotta defend. Defend first. Protect, survive. When I get the chance, run away. I would say defend. When I get the chance, run away. And then when I have the time, take out the knife. So it goes in priorities. So I'm not going to take it out when they're attacking me, see if I could take this out before the attack lands. That's too much of a risk. If I'm wrong, boom, I'm knocked out. That's to me way, way, way too risky. So I wouldn't even think about the knife at that point. Once again, I would defend. I would defend first, run second, then take this out. Now, if I could run first, I would. I'm just saying it's harder to do. It's harder to do, so that's why I'm saying defend first. Okay. It depends on the situation, of course. And there's been many situations where I was able to catch it way beforehand, and preventative measures. My awareness was sharp, so I was able to. I just left, or I just ran away before anything was able to catch up to me or get to me. So yeah, the running away is very, very important in that sense. But if you're unable to, and you're caught, and they should be thinking about you fighting back. They should be thinking about you running away. So they're cutting off all those things. Okay. So in that situation, you got to defend. That's the nightmare situation. So defend first. Okay. At that point, if you run, you're probably you're giving them your back, and they'll just take you down. So in that situation, so at that situation, you have to defend first. Okay. So let's say I was able to have enough time to take this out. I'd rather use it closed, because if I use it open, this starts to really limit what I can do, because this turns into like a kill or be killed situation. Now, it doesn't have to be, but at the very least, it could be a maim or be maimed situation. So if it's not kill or be killed, it's a maim or be maimed. That's still severe, okay? But it kind of traps me in that situation, right? So that's why I don't want to be trapped in that when there's still a possibility that this person might give up. This person might give up their attack. They might go, you know what? This was a bad idea. This person's not the right prey, so they let me go, There's still that possibility to happen. Or I guess there's a possibility that it's a misunderstanding, or who knows what, okay? Or this person, their temper was able to calm down, or there's still a possibility of de-escalation. And if I go to this, I almost remove that possibility. In fact, I might take it the other way, where it's escalation, okay? Then there's a chance if you do that, they might go, oh, you want to go that far? Okay, well, let me take out my gun, okay? And I may have just given them a reason to do that, okay? But that's why I would be very, very careful taking this out. And you don't have to brandish it. They don't have to see it. But even if they don't see it and everything happens so quickly, if I stab them and take their life, or I seriously injure them enough, maim them enough to where they're in the hospital, once again, those are situations that I really, really want to avoid. It's not, yes, I want to avoid me being in the hospital or me being killed, but I also want to avoid doing the same to them. Okay, it's just I don't want to be involved in any of that, right? So then the idea of knife boxing can be done with this thing closed, and of course, hammer fist, of course, this way. And I think a lot of people also forget about this. It can also be done in that direction as well. And here's one that I like, is this using the spine of the blade right on the bridge of the nose. So I could hit with that. I could rake with that. Yeah, so I really like doing that. And on top of that, I could use this to help assist in chokes, okay? So doing choke submission type moves. So this could help me with locks too, finger locks and stuff. So once again, I really like using the knife closed, right? There's so many submissions that you see in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, catch wrestling, and MMA that you could use this to enhance any of those techniques, whether it's an ankle lock, heel hook, knee bar, toe hold, you know, on and on and on and so forth. Okay. Now, once the blade is out, okay, so let's say the blade is out, the idea for me, and this is where we really get into the knife boxing part, is to create a blender. That's what I'm doing. I'm going shh. I'm creating this pa 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 pa. I'm creating this blender. I'm not trying to make contact necessarily. This is more of a psychological thing where as I create this blender, the blender serves as a barrier in front of me. So it's creating this like shield that makes it difficult for them to enter. Or if they are kind of close to me and I go pa 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 pa, they go whoa, and it creates space. Okay, so I don't care about making contact. And yes, I train to make contact, but in real life, I don't want to make contact. I don't want to cut them up. I don't want blood everywhere. I don't want any of that. So I really using it more as a psychological thing to create the space, create distance. So it's a 100% defensive thing is the way that I'm using it. And I know people might be like, well, then why have a knife? Because the knife has the capability to do that, to psychologically affect the other person. So if I'm pa 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 like this, doing this to create that space, and then if that escalates the situation, they go for the handgun. Either way, my goal is to run away anyway. So whether they take out a handgun or not, I'm running either way. Then my next move is run. So I want this blender to create that opening to get out. So that is the way that I use the knife boxing. If you are in a situation where you are knife boxing and you are actually making contact, you're boom, 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 and you're actually stabbing and there's like blood everywhere and you're stabbing this way and boom, and you're doing this kind of thing. Every time you make that kind of contact, you have to understand they could also contact you because you're both in reach of each other. So if they also had a knife, then every time you're doing that, they could also be doing it back to you, and I don't know why they're not. So they should be. That means you're both going to be a bloody mess, and that's definitely something I don't want to do. And the one thing before I end this video I want to say is that knife fencing is better than knife boxing if that's what you want to do. If you got to fight someone, if they have a knife, I have a knife, and we're going to go at it for some reason, and they're deciding not to leave, they're going, oh, okay, well, let's see who's better with a knife. And they bring that on me, and I'm like, oh, gosh, are you crazy? You know? So then in that case, I'm not going to be knife boxing for sure. I'm going to be knife fencing. Knife fencing. Why? Because knife fencing keeps you safe. It keeps you at maximum distance, and you're basically poking them down, and you're breaking them apart. You're picking them apart with moves that are less risky for me to getting counterattacked. Okay, so it's kind of like if I have a spear and I'm using a spear and try to keep them away from me and stab them, poke, stab, and just break them down that way, pick them apart. But if they're doing knife boxing to me, then that means it's almost like they have a sword and they're trying to do a sword fight where you're both going to die, right? And I'm using a spear and I'm just poking them from a distance. So that's knife fencing. So in a street situation, if that happens, because you never know, this stuff can happen. You don't tell me that, oh, historically that'll never happen. It can. And there's videos where it has happened. It's got to be rare, but if it does happen for some reason, just know knife fencing is the way to go. The way that I use knife boxing, once again, is as a blender. And the blender is there for a psychological barrier that I'm creating, this cloud that makes it difficult for them to come in. So I hope that makes sense. That's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.